Hey guys! Today I'm going to show you my top 20 time-saving and efficiency tips that every single Stardew Valley player needs to know, which I've broken down into these 5 categories. So this first category that I'm calling click reduction is 7 little tips that will save your finger a lot of clicking and save you a lot of time and frustration. As you know, if you left click on an item, it'll move that entire stack into your inventory or back into a chest. And if you right click it, it will move one item at a time. But did you know that if you hold down shift and then right click it, it will split the stack in half for you? And doing that a second time will split the stack in half again, making it much easier to get just the right amount of a certain item. Obviously that applies to PC players, but if you are playing on the Switch, you can click Y to move just one item, or you can hold it down to move in multiples. Next, I'm going to show you 2 buttons that you definitely need to start using if you aren't already. First is the Add to Existing Stacks button, which is very useful when you have a lot of items to put away, and it saves you from having to look through your entire backpack and click on each one individually. Instead, just click right here and it will automatically pull out any items from your backpack that you've already assigned to each open chest, which makes staying organized a lot faster and a lot easier. Speaking of staying organized, the next one is the Organize button, which is pretty self-explanatory, but it will automatically sort the items in your chest or in your backpack by grouping similar items together and combining stacks. And there's actually a third button that's even more helpful than these two, but we're gonna go over that one a little bit later in the video. Okay, so click reduction tip 4. Whenever you go to purchase a lot of a single item, which for me it's always hay, you don't actually have to click a million times to get the stock that you need. Just hold down shift while you shop to buy things 5 times as fast. And holding down shift will also work in the crafting menu to make 5 of an item at once, like when you need a lot of fence posts for an example. Tip 5. Whenever you're doing a repeated action like collecting items from machines, instead of clicking on each one, you can just hold down the button while you keep your cursor over the equipment, and then you can just walk around and pick up everything without lifting a finger. If you have another item selected from your inventory while you do this, it will automatically refill the equipment as well, or if you have seeds in your hands, you can harvest crops and replant new seeds at the same time. Holding down the button will work for any action that you want to repeat, like putting down fences, laying down walkways, gathering truffles and petting animals, or even cutting down trees. And since we brought up cutting trees, I just want to mention really quick that you can control the direction of the tree fall based on where you position your axe. Obviously, the tree will fall away from you if you come at it from the side, but if you have to cut it from the front or the back, you can still control the fall by positioning yourself slightly to the left or slightly to the right, and then the tree will fall to the opposite side. So no more having wood fall outside the edges of the map where you can't even get to it. Additionally, a magnet ring, which you can find in the mines starting at floor 40, will increase your magnetic radius by 2 tiles, and it can be stacked with another ring to increase your radius even more. So let's talk about moving faster in general. I'm sure you've heard the tip that you walk faster on walkways than you do on bare ground. And while that is technically true, the difference that it makes is negligible. Even after walking all the way across my farm to let the effect build up as much as possible, the result was minuscule and unimpressive. Honestly, after testing this one out myself, I really don't understand why this tip is passed around so much. I mean, the girl on the bare ground was literally 1 square behind. So for a much more noticeable speed boost, you can make coffee. And then once you get the recipe for triple shot espresso from Gus at the saloon, it'll do the same exact thing, but the buff will last 3 times longer. And if you really want to move around quickly, get a horse. The horse runs a lot faster than you walk, and if you do have coffee, drinking it will actually make your horse travel faster too.
I'm fast as boy.
Side note, if you're struggling to gather the 100 pieces of hardwood that you need for the horse stable, the secret woods will respawn 6 hardwood stumps every single day for a total of 12 pieces of hardwood on each visit. Just don't forget to go down into this hidden section right here, which you might miss if you play with your game zoomed all the way in. Side note to the side note, if you don't have the steel axe that you need to get past the large log blocking the entrance to the secret woods, you can always use this chair trick. Just place a chair right here to the left of the log, sit on the chair, and then hop off the chair and into the secret woods. And then to get back out, you just need to reposition the chair a little bit, and then you can do the same thing. And at risk of being a little ridiculous, I'm actually gonna go triple side note here. This chair trick also works to get into the rooms of any NPCs that you aren't friends with yet. So now you don't even have to be friends with Marnie to get your hands on those lucky purple shorts. All right, so back to speed. If you want to move as fast as possible without getting the horse, then you can stack speed buffs or read some pretty expensive books. Most buffs will not stack, and instead they will cancel out and replace any previous buffs that you had. But an exception to that rule is that the +1 speed buff from coffee can be added to the +1 speed buff from a food. So that means if you consume any one of these 4 foods, along with coffee or espresso, you will end up with a temporary plus. And as of the 1.6 update, we now have the bookseller who will be in town twice each season. So if you have an extra 15,000 gold lying around, you can get a permanent speed boost by purchasing and reading The Way of the Wind Part 1. After you do that, The Way of the Wind Part 2 will appear, which will give you another speed bonus for an additional 35,000 gold. You do have to read Part 1 before Part 2 will appear, but if you have the money, you can get both books on the same day, as you can see I did in my video here. Saving time moving around the map. One of the things that frustrated me the very most when I first started playing Stardew Valley is how many times I had to walk back and forth from the community center to remind myself what I needed, and then walk all the way back to the farm to see if I had it in my inventory. And then if I did, I would have to walk all the way back to the community center again to drop it off. Well, remember that other button that I said we were going to go over? This is the community center button, which you can access from anywhere on the map and be able to see everything that you need for each bundle, and also whether or not you have it in your inventory. Another great way to avoid walking all over town for no good reason is by buying the telephone from Robin. It costs 2,000 gold, which might be a little hefty in the beginning of the game, but it's 100% worth it, and I'll show you why. Once you have the phone in your house, you can use it to call any store in town to get their business hours for that day, or check the cost and supplies needed for building upgrades, or even check out the store inventory stock. Most importantly though, calling ahead will prevent you from walking all the way to the opposite side of the map just to remember that Clint is closed on Fridays. Alright, now this is one that took me forever to figure out. I used to get really annoyed that when I was remodeling or just moving items around my farm, I always had to redo the flooring because it came up with whatever was on top of it. Then I finally realized that while using the axe will remove the flooring underneath, using the pickaxe will only pick up the item on top of it and leave your flooring intact. This saves so much time on farm remodeling, and it works for gates and statues and any decorative items or machines that you have on your farm. The only exception is with wood fencing because unfortunately the pickaxe just won't pick it up, so on that one you are going to have to use the axe. And then another time-saving trick for remodeling is that you don't actually have to cut down broken fences. Instead, you can just place a new fence post right on top of the crumbled one. So we all know that if you drop your crops off in the shipping bin, you'll earn money when you go to sleep that night. But what if for some reason you can't wait until the next day and you just cash now? To get your money the same day, simply head to Pierre's and interact with his cash register, and then anything that's not grayed out in your backpack is something that can be sold on the spot for instant gold. And you can also do the same thing at Marnie's Ranch and the carpenter shop and the fish shop and the blacksmith. Just click on shop in the store menu and then you can make some money. Alright, that's going to wrap it up for this video, but hopefully these tips will save you some time and make your life a little bit easier on the farm. If you like this video, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe, or you can follow me on Twitch and join me every weekend for Stardew Sundays. Thanks for watching!